Welcome to POPLAW Podcast. I'm your host Desiree, and I'm still not your attorney. This is POPLAW Breakdown. POPLAW Breakdown is a segment of the show that breaks down the law related to the guest episode. On this episode of POPLAW Breakdown, we're talking about trade dress. When we sat down with Tope Ajala, Chief Global Inclusion and Impact Officer for OVV, we quickly mentioned the numerous legal claims in the T.I., Tiny, and OMG Girlz lawsuit. Trade dress and misappropriation and the right to publicity stands out the most to us. In July 2025, U.S. District Judge James V. Selna slashed the punitive damages down to just $1, effectively reducing the total award to about $17.8 million. The decision was based on a lack of sufficient evidence that MGA acted with willful intent when designing the dolls. The court noted internal emails and design artifacts didn't prove deliberate copying of the OMG Girlz trade dress. T.I. and Tiny have the option to accept the reduced award, $17.8 million plus $1 punitive, or pursue a new trial limited to punitive damages. T.I. and Tiny have indicated that they will reject the $1 figure and likely proceed with a retrial on that portion of the award. Judge Selna's reduction of punitive damages did not overturn the finding of liability on those claims, only the severity of punishment. The substantive verdict still stands and the compensatory award remains intact. This ongoing legal battle remains a powerful statement on how cultural aesthetics and identity are increasingly being recognized as intellectual property, especially for Black creatives whose influence can be monetized without acknowledgement. All right, trade dress. Trade dress is a type of intellectual property that protects the visual appearance and overall aesthetic of a product or a brand when that look is distinctive enough to identify its source to consumers. So, the legal definition of trade dress. Trade dress refers to the total image and overall appearance of a product, including packaging, color schemes, design and layout, decorations and graphics and shape, store and display design. In order to prove trade dress infringement under the Lanham Act, a plaintiff must demonstrate that 1, the trade dress is non-functional, 2, the trade dress has acquired secondary meaning or distinctive, and 3, there is a substantial likelihood of confusion between the plaintiff and the defendant's products. So what does non-functional mean? This means that the design or shape of a product cannot serve a practical, functional, or utilitarian purpose. Instead, it must be primarily for aesthetic or decorative purposes. The design cannot be essential to the product's use or affects its cost or quality. It must exist only to create a brand image. Distinctive and have a secondary meaning? To be distinctive, the mark must be recognizable by consumers as identifying a particular brand, either inherently or through years of consistent use. Secondary meaning occurs when, in the minds of the public, the primary significance of a mark is to identify the source of the product rather than the product itself. And finally, likely to cause confusion if copied. The test for likelihood of confusion is whether a reasonably prudent consumer in the marketplace is likely to be confused as to the origin of the good or service bearing one of the marks. There are several factors: strength of the mark, proximity of the goods, similarity of the marks, evidence of actual confusion, marketing channels used, type of goods and the degree of care likely to be exercised by the purchaser, defendant's intent in selecting the mark, and likelihood of expansion of the product lines. So how does this apply to OMG Girlz? The OMG Girlz argue that their bold fashion, colorful hair, and unique style were part of their trade dress, a recognizable look and feel associated with their brand. They claimed MGA copied that look for their LOL Surprise OMG dolls, creating confusion and benefiting from their brand identity without consent. So think of it like this. If you can look at a product or even a person's signature style and immediately know who is associated with it, that visual identity may be protected as trade dress. So protect your neck and your style. It may be worth multi-millions. Thank you for watching POPLAW Breakdown. I'm your host, Desiree, and I'm still not your attorney. Disclaimer, this episode is strictly for entertainment and educational purposes only. It is not meant to be construed as legal advice in any form. Bye.